Yep, I'm losing my voice a little bit, but I just wanted to say that Han Solo dies. Yep, yep. But you know, it was an interesting death. Um, Pretty sad. But Star Wars is known for those heartstring moments between father and son. Tragic. Yeah. Um, I wanted to talk about Star Wars, and it's not as heroic as you think it is. Despite the rave reviews from the black perspective, especially the black nerd perspective, I was about to say Huckleberry Finn, but you might as well call him that since that's what he's based off from. Finn is he's not a hero, and basically he's really just the Scooby Doo of the series. I mean of the movie. That's really what he is. The Scooby Doo. He's the joke and puns. Um, a lot of writers and bloggers from Huffington Post to Ebony magazine has been writing about you know the 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 importance of black leads and black heroes. This nigga wasn't a hero. I'm a Star Wars fan. I know most or a good bit of the Star Wars history. Um, at least in storyline, and his character just really didn't make sense to me. And maybe I missed something, only saw it once. Maybe I need to do some back reading or whatever. But from watching the movie, on first on, he makes in the middle of the film or near end, he states that he is a sanitation worker or officer. So basically, he's a janitor. And there was like an interesting moment early on in the film where Ray and Finn um, steal the Millennium Falcon, and they ended up getting captured by some kind of star, some kind of ship or some space station, and they hide. They think it's the stormtroopers are coming, so they hide. And there was a scene where they were fixing the Millennium Falcon, and they were talking about there's a pipe leak, and it could this leakage could cause air poisoning, and so there was a scene where they were like trying to fix it, and the dude didn't know how to use tools. I'm like, okay, okay, this is weird because in the future scenes he tells us he's a sanitation, basically a janitor. So basically, I know janitors. I mean they have to know a good bit of plumbing. I'm pretty sure they have to have plumbing skills. You know, they have to know how to unclog shit, know how to get shit flowing properly, and it just didn't make sense to me. Like, okay, I at least know how to use tools because that's I mean that's pretty common. You should know how to learn how to use tools. So that threw me off in a bit. And what threw me off a bit was that okay, he's a janitor turned soldier, and I'm like, okay, this is a hell of a transition from what we're picking up. Okay, he was stolen from his family, conditioned to be a stormtrooper. It really doesn't make sense because he doesn't have killer instinct. So I'm kind of wondering, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, why is he a stormtrooper? He has no killer instinct, and this should have been thought out or seen by the superiors before. Because in the scene they were talking about, there was a scene they were talking about the clone troopers, the old clone troopers. It was like, these stormtroopers are in your army is insufficient, and we should have went back to the old days of using clones. And I'm like, okay, so they're They go through this harsh training, I'm assuming, and I'm just kind of like, okay, how does he even in the battlefield to begin with? Like, Finn's character was really pathetic, and I really didn't understand because he didn't had no skills. Okay, don't be fooled with the posters. He's not a Jedi, and I doubt they'll give him the Force because by so far he's really just talentless. He was really just a nigga holding a lightsaber. To be honest with you, he's not a Jedi as of yet, unless they do some rewriting and they make him into a Jedi in the next episode. But as of now, he's not a Jedi. He doesn't have any Force capabilities. He just basically gets his ass whooped by what's his name, Kylo Ren, and it was just really pathetic. He really couldn't fight, and there was like multiple fight scenes where he's fighting um a random stormtrooper, and he has this kind of like cool detachable, I guess, nightstick, but it's like thick as hell, and he's swinging that shit around, and Finn is he got his lightsaber, and it was like okay, and he was just getting his ass whooped, and I was like, oh my god, he has a fucking lightsaber, and you telling me do, you couldn't even outclass this dude? And I was like, it's like I thought lightsabers can cut through anything, but I was like kind of like surprised that this dude was given a challenge. And then it literally took a cheap shot by Chewbacca or Han Solo. I think Chewbacca to save his ass because Finn was getting his ass beat, and Finn was just really a menstrual character. That's the truth. And I'm not the type of black person to like token positions or like any type of token, um, spots. I mean, Finn, he was just a complete idiot in the movie. I really didn't like him. I find him to be a bit, I don't even say a bit, very repulsive. I didn't understand like the beginning of the film where it starts off as this ace fighter, X-wing fighter named Poe, and he's stranded in a desert, not Tatooine, some other desert planet. Um, he's stranded there, and the stormtroopers they rush to they destroyed the hideout or this little village. They burn it down, blah blah blah. And Finn's character, he hesitates because he sees one of his men die and like blood, which was kind of weird because I've never seen blood, you know, splatter on a true blaster fight, which was kind of weird. And it was weird because it only happened once in the movie. Other times when Han Solo or Chewbacca or anybody else got shot by a laser or they were shooting at somebody or a stormtrooper, there was no blood. So yeah, I find that kind of weird. Like, okay, usually there's no blood in Star Wars, so I find that kind of weird. So he has this, a bloody, um, he he has like a bloody one of his comrades, rubs his hand on him, on his helmet, and like there's blood on it. Now he's like shaking and quivering, like he's quivering and shit. And then he hesitates. He pretends like he's shooting, and then like Kylo Ren senses his weakness, and he knows he done fucked up. And another thing about the future scene where he was fighting that stormtrooper, um, the stormtrooper he was fighting called him a traitor, and I was like, why did you call him a traitor? I like this nigga was no help. This nigga was no loss. So, this nigga could have been whatever on anybody's side. This nigga is really, he's not even a game to be practically honest. But back to the past, like I was mentioning before, I mean, he's really no loss. And Finn, okay, so Finn, they capture Poe, and this was another stupid scene that I really didn't understand. Um, Finn is a complete idiot, and so Finn, he just kind of has this morality. He's just like a good person. I guess he's always been a good person somehow. And he saves Poe, and he's like, Poe, are you, and Poe asks him like, are you with the Resistance? Um, and it was like, nah, nah, I'm just doing it out of my own free will. I'm like, okay. And so he tries to take him to a TIE fighter so they can escape. And they remodeled the TIE fighters to like like a two-seater, which was kind of new to me. I guess they were just kind of doing it just to make the movie make sense because there really isn't, well, because a lot of the ships you see are one-manned, but I guess they just kind of did it just to make the scene make sense and try to make it less confusing. But anyways, so they're on a TIE fighter. They steal a TIE fighter, and they get in a way, but there's like a cable that's like tight on the wing to prevent unauthorized um, liftoffs. And I'm like, oh my god, like how the hell did he not know? And like the thing is, it's like holding on to the TIE fighter, and he's just trying to like fly off. He's trying to outmuscle it. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like I forgot how they detached. I don't know if they shot at it, um, but I forgot how it detached. But it was just so stupid. It's like, how did you not know? This is like to me. I just find it so weird. It's like it's like somebody who's worked in a certain spot for like number of years, and their skill set and their knowledge of their field is equivalent to somebody who is a trainee. And I'm like, you should be on like supervisor status or something, but you're like a trainee. How do you not know the ins and outs, you know, of what you're doing or what your job? And Finn was really, I'll probably say, the purpose of Finn's character, just making sure this thing's on. The purpose of Finn's character was a white supremacist fantasy of affirmative action. And and this is my own original thought, and I'll say this again. Finn's character was a white fantasy. I was about to say feminism, but fantasy of affirmative action. And why do I say that? Because he's in all these fields. He's a soldier, a janitor, yet he has no special. He doesn't specialize in anything. He's a soldier, but he's getting his ass kicked um, in every fight scene. He fights Kylo Ren, and he fights Kylo Ren, and he gets slashed on the back, and this nigga's knocked out for like the rest of the movie. The movie. And I'm like, wait a minute. Luke Skywalker loses his arm. Luke and Anakin lose their hand. I wouldn't say arm, but they lose their hand and make a speedy recovery. They're not even knocked out. They're not even, they're still up. And I'm like, how the hell does this nigga take like a non-lethal slash on the back, and then this nigga's like knocked out? Like there was like weird, kind of, weird, Finn's character or the actions around Finn was just weird because it literally didn't make sense compared to technicalities in the Star Wars universe. Like I said before, usually there's never any blood in the movie, so I found that kind of weird with the beginning, and the slash on his back. That was weird to me because like how do you get knocked out from that? But I didn't like the movie. The movie I didn't really like it too much because there was way too much anticipation with Finn's character, and Finn's character was really just a running joke. Basically he's the Scooby Doo of Star Wars. He's just kind of, and that's the thing. is that the he was too he was too much comic relief. You know, he was the comic relief guy. And the thing is about Star Wars is that I don't mind Star Wars having funny moments, but the thing was it just had too many of it. You know, it was just way too much. It was like, oh, okay, another one, another one. Oh, this nigga didn't know, what tools to use. Oh my God, this nigga doesn't know what to do. Oh my God, it's like this nigga has no expertise in shit. And basically, he's just the Scooby Doo. He's just running around, screaming, "Ray, Ray, Ray!" I'm like, oh my God, man. That's basically all he did. All he did was just run. I mean, he's, the Scooby Doo of Star Wars. And he's really just a disgrace. You know, if you're a Star Wars fan, I don't know how you like this movie. I mean, unless you just like seeing submissive black men. But realistically speaking, I cannot say that this was a film that I truly liked. If there was little hype over the black character, I would have been happy about it.